Delaware Housing, talking about houses because they're cool.
Taste of rainbow, bro.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name's Zachary.
I'm Patrick.
And this is your weekly housing market update. We're live on TikTok as well. We're going to take questions from TikTok if there are any. But mainly, we're going to be diving into what's going on in the housing market here in Delaware. So, sir, what's going on in the housing market right now?
Not a whole lot of shifts.
At least since the last time we talked.
Yes, this is the last time that we talked. If you haven't been paying attention since like October, there's been a lot. But
we have a lot to catch you up on.
But I mean, as far as the numbers go, like competition is rising a little bit as far as agents are more active, meaning that there's a little bit more houses on the market right now.
Yeah, a little bit more inventory for sure. A little bit, but not a large amount. And it's interesting because year over year, we have some of these stats in front of us that nearly 35% of the housing market has just disappeared. And year over year, back in 2021, we were in an inventory crisis this time last year.
Yes.
And that time the year before that in 2021 as well.
I want to argue the fact that we've been in like an inventory crisis probably since 2015, just nobody knew about it.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely. Well, so, I mean, what happened was the fact that we had 2008 happen, 2009 actually is when shit hit the fan, but defecation hit the oscillation. Sorry, Facebook.
Poop hit the fan.
Yeah, the poop hit the fan. The poop hit the fan and new construction ceased because they knew people weren't buying homes.
Let me be the devil's advocate that it didn't cease. It just hailed in comparison to what we were doing.
Hailed in comparison or paled in comparison?
Hailed in comparison. Sorry.
It hailed in comparison.
I'm not perfect. Let's just keep that real.
Hey, nobody's perfect. It's perfect.
But anyway, it's the new construction didn't cease.
Just slowed.
Just slowed drastically because of 2008.
Because for us, a good few years, we had a lot of lack in the demand category. There were a lot of people who weren't looking to buy. But now we have a different situation. We have a lot of people who want to buy, but we don't have a lot of inventory, which is causing this weird market where if you're looking at today's market, here's what's happening. We're low on inventory, we're high on demand, we're high on interest rates, and we're high on home prices. Normally, these three don't go together with also we have a lot of demand.
Yes.
You don't normally put low inventory, high demand into a place where people are still willing to buy at such crazy prices in some places. But in Delaware, go ahead.
Well, I'm about to say I'm for it. It's just on a whole economic level, I'm not.
What do you mean on a whole, like macro-wise?
Yes. So basically, I want people to continue to purchase homes because that's how I get paid at the end of the day. But it still scares me that
It
still scares me that people are still trying to buy houses the way that they were 2 years ago. Because it ruins the economy.
This is our job. This is our career. Obviously, we want to help people into home ownership. We want to assist them in the sale of their home so that they can get their money out of it. There's just a lot of people I'm talking to these days, and I'm like, I think you should wait. I think renting might be the best option for a short term. It's never going to be the best long-term option. I'll stand on that until I die. Long-term home ownership is going to be the wave for forever. That's how housing has worked since the 30s.
Yeah.
Ever since we brought I think it was the 30s, we brought the mortgage into the ecosystem of America. It's always gone up. Is that something you can guarantee? No, because I'm not Nostradamus, neither are you.
Yeah.
But we have numbers that say we still have people buying at these prices. Why is it that, and I'd love TikTok, I'd love your take if you have one, on if we have people, for instance, a home's listed for $400,000.
Yeah.
Why is someone in this market walking in and paying $450,000?
Because the opportunities are between the lines. I mean, there's not as much competition there, but there's still enough competition to drive up the purchase price, and people just want it to end. People are just like, whatever I got to do, stop me going through this war zone right now. I'll pay the extra money. Just get me in the frickin' house.
You said it right there. I think people are paying extra just to have it done with.
Yeah.
Just to have it over with.
Yeah.
Because we've been going through this for 2.5, 3 years.
It's crazy. And going back to what you said, might not be the perfect time. And I get what you're saying when it comes to that. I don't necessarily think I would word it like that.
Why?
It's just that investment.
Wait, what did I word that you didn't like? That you should rent for a year?
Yes.
Why?
Because
tell me.
I love that you're just really in depth with this. In my personal opinion, most of the time, buying a home makes more sense than renting.
Sure.
Right now, those numbers might not line up exactly.
It's this market. Yes.
Give it 2 years. Give it 3 years. Maybe
So why
even
couldn't
give
they
it
rent
a year.
for a year then? You just said give it 2 years. So why couldn't I say, hey, we're going to give this market some time to shift?
Because what if it gets worse?
Then, I mean,
and you had a better
aren't
opportunity.
there a lot of people in a situation right now, though, where renting is keeping them out of a situation that's already too bad for their lives? Like, you're maybe right. And there's a lot of backing economically to state you are right. Yeah. That home prices will continue to go up and it will only get tougher. And we may be in last great opportune buyer's market, and no one would call it great. No, it's not. But you're right. It could go that way. But let me play devil's advocate. There's a lot of people out there that are going to push themselves to the limit to buy a home. And if the interest rates don't cool off and they can't refi, or hell, outside of just real estate, what if groceries keep going up? What if electric bills keep going up? Insurance premiums went up 30+% just this year. There's a lot more expense to being alive.
Yeah.
So having something that you can't foreclose on and jack your credit up for the next 5 to 7 years, I don't know.
I get what you're saying, and I agree to a point. Don't put yourself into a position to where it's going to hurt you in the long run to purchase a home ever. That's what I really go out of my way to tell people. Like, if the monthly payment doesn't work for you, don't do it.
Don't do it.
But if you're waiting for a better situation, for a lower price, lower interest rate, and all this stuff to buy.
Yep. Okay. I see what you're saying. So if you're fully equipped, you got the income, your credit's, 680, whatever, 620 and above.
Don't wait.
Yeah. If you can afford a home and have the money to put down, and it makes sense, absolutely. I completely agree.
This is a great argument.
I completely agree there. So I agree, though, because in that scenario, but there's a lot of people who aren't well equipped right now. Aren't well equipped.
And I don't want to say I'm not speaking to you, because of course I'm speaking to everybody that's watching this, but if you can buy right now and the monthly payment works, why wait in case the situation gets worse? Because year over year, it always gets harder to purchase unless it's 2008 going to 2009.
Yeah. And there's a comment right here that I fully agree with, is leveraging your other sources to try to push yourself into a home right now. I had a conversation with someone the other day. They're selling their house. They're going to Texas. And the conversation was around, hey, we're going to sell our home. And if we have to, outside of just the proceeds from this home to buy the next one, dip into my 401k. Exactly. I had a little gag. I'm like, no, please don't do that.
It's really expensive to use that.
So expensive. The tax implications are huge. Yeah. You're ripping away from your retirement. Like, I don't agree with that. Could you buy a home and then 3 years later, the appreciation you've attained supersedes what you lost in the 401k?
Yeah.
Sure. Maybe. I would never put my name on someone ripping out of their 401k, large savings accounts, buying a fixer-upper, big opportunity, buying grandma's house. I talked about this on TikTok, and it did really well. Talking to your sphere. Talk to the people you're working with, your employer, your family. You don't know how many people have inherited, how many people have you talked to that just randomly have inherited land, have rental properties if you never asked, you never would have known they had rental properties, ever. And we're in a world where some people are looking to cash out their equity, or maybe it's a situation where they can rent it to you privately at a decent rate, or they're looking to load off, or they inherit it and they just don't know what to do with it, and they've sat on it for 2 years.
Absolutely.
Those homes exist. So grandma's house is a great point.
Yeah, and I mean, run into those situations where somebody's going to gift you equity, like grandma's house. They're making out at the end of the day because they're still making a significant amount.
Who's making out? Grandma?
So if you were to purchase your grandmother's house,
okay,
you could be in a very positive situation for all parties involved. Sorry, I misworded that. Say grandma wants to sell her house for $50,000. Yeah, say you're
watching this, Nana.
She wants to sell her house for $50,000 that she spent $10,000 on, and she has all this equity in there, and she's gifting you over $100,000 worth of it, but she's still making money at the end of the day. She's giving an inheritance to a family member while still making money. That's a great situation.
Great situation. Another situation, and this just goes to what this market entails. It entails more creativity needed. Right now, I had a conversation with someone who's looking to sell their home, and instead of selling, we're more than likely going to parse it off to an investor who's going to give her what she needs to buy the next home. She's going to keep partial share in the property, and they're going to Airbnb it. She's an old lady. It's grandma's house.
Yes.
She doesn't know how to Airbnb it, but she lives 2 blocks from the beach. And I know what we can get by selling it to the investor, but going into like, I can't go to sleep at night knowing we didn't put them in the right scenario.
Yeah.
She's going to get a partial share of what they make for the next 10 years.
Yep.
Which is then going to go to her family and her kids, which mean the most in this situation. And the reason why she wanted to sell in the first place.
Yeah.
But we said, hey, in this market, we may actually be looking at XYZ. This wouldn't have been an option in 2018, but today, which goes into today. Let me look at the numbers right now. Right now in Delaware, here's where we stand year over year. And these numbers, dude, especially the fourth one, are really interesting. So we'll talk about the lack of supply and then the increased demand, or at least sustained demand. So new closed sales year over year in Delaware down 34.4%. That's over a third.
Yes.
That's crazy. Also down a third. New purchase contracts, new homes going under contract. That's down a year ago as compared to today. New listings. We currently have 253 new listings here at the last week of March, and we are down on that number year over year, 35.9%. You notice all these numbers are all falling in that range. Showings, people actually going and seeing homes. We had 4,000 this month. That's down 31.5%. But the kicker, and this is the fourth one, I skipped over it. The kicker is this interesting one called ratio of pendings to 100 listings. So basically, how many homes under contract do we have per 100 homes on the market?
Yeah.
That number's up.
Yes.
3.4% year over year. So everything else is down a third. We have less inventory. We have less homes going under contract. We have less showings, and we have less people putting in offers, but we have more homes going under contract at scale, ratio-wise, per 100 homes, which means if we had 10,000 homes, maybe that's 800 or 1,800 homes that went under contract.
I'm about to say, you can easily do the numbers because this is 94%.
Man, I don't know 94% of 4,171. I don't know that number. But anyway, it's crazy. The sustained demand
is insane.
And that's why the squeeze is happening. We're down 35% in what people can shop for.
It's like a cheese omelet.
What?
I'm kidding.
Omelette du fromage. The inventory's down. The people actively looking for homes are down. And the amount of contracts that are going in per the homes that are there is actually going up. Which means
demand is high and supply is low.
And based off all economic standards, that means we're in a world where prices continue to go up.
And that's why interest rates are continuing to stay where they're at. That's why they're going to sustain in the higher numbers. We're seeing...
You hope. You're not Jerome Powell, are you?
No,
we need to have some conversations.
No, I mean, this is just me assuming and guessing what's been going on as far as the status quo, based on what the numbers are showing now and what we've seen previously.
What are you guys seeing in the housing market right now? Lay out some questions or what you're seeing in your area of the country, TikTok specifically, Facebook as well. We just can't see those comments, but Sean would gladly read them. Do we have access to the comments as they happen, Sean? Perfect. So here on what are you guys seeing in your area? Because we're talking Delaware. Delaware is seeing insane demand.
East versus West, from what I see on a national level, are just line in the sand.
Do you want to talk about that? I mean, this is Delaware, but California.
Well, they're hyper involved with SVB
in the
breaking
bank
down.
Yep.
We literally, our market is literally only affected by emotion because of that.
Well, yes, nationally, absolutely. So Delaware, though. Why is so California, Los Angeles, Austin, Texas, Boise, Idaho, which we're seeing a crazy market for the last 3 years, especially in the luxury space, Miami, all these places are seeing downturns in their market, which is why I ask. I want to hear what you guys are seeing. Real estate agent, realtor from Rochester, Minnesota, working with my clients in a small town, and it's a struggle. So why are these bigger areas or some of these areas seeing downturns like metropolitan areas and Delaware seeing insane demand, especially the more north you go in Delaware?
Because if it doesn't really matter where you're working, if you can work remotely, why would you continue to pay these high premiums in ridiculous areas where it doesn't really make sense for you?
I think that's a big factor. I think it's a huge factor.
I mean, if you're going to be able to work remotely, you can work from your computer wherever you want to go. Say you have a government-based job.
What's the percentage of people that work from remote or have the ability to work remote compared to just 3 years ago?
It would be a guess.
I don't know it, but it has to be huge.
Yes.
Like it has to be a drastic increase of at least the people that have the option to do
COVID really
that.
messed with people's employment status. I mean, being able to do stuff from home versus going into an office.
Yeah. Devin just said a great point too. She said, they can afford it, but what's the point if there's nothing inventory wise? If you can, there's a lot of people out there that can afford the $300,000 ranch or the $1,500 payment. And frankly, am I boring?
No, just long night.
And firsthand,
this keeps me up at night.
Oh, yeah. That's the typical first-time home buyer price point. Let me walk in $1,200, $1,500 a month. Let me get started in the home ownership journey. Used to be $215, now $300. But you can't walk into a home without a $2,200 payment.
Yeah, what was it in Delaware specifically, like in 2018?
2018, I know it verbatim. 2018, we were sub 100 or 200 on the average home. We were like 196,000. Also in 2018, we were coming off the back end. I think in 2018 we had a little bit of 5%, but for the main part it was like 3.5 to 4.5.
Yeah.
So literally, I was getting people into a home, USDA financing, 100% financing.
Yeah.
Closing cost assistance, 12 to 14 grand that goes into their pockets. They don't have to pay anything.
Yeah.
They were getting their deposit check back at the closing table.
Yeah.
And had a $1,000 mortgage.
And
now that same home is
must be nice.
And now that same home is worth $385. So
good. No, it must be nice.
Exactly. But let me tell you right now, those are the people that are going to be okay. And there's a lot of people that just aren't. And there's a line in the sand, and I've said it on multiple videos. If you own a home, you're in a great situation. If you don't, it's tough. It's tough. It's tough to get into your first home having not already owned a home.
Yep.
Yeah.
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 Market
update. Any other points you have for someone watching this is like, this is doom and gloom. I hate this. I want to buy a home. What do I do?
Sorry if this seems like a lot more pessimistic than our usual live. We have a stance on being super real with our clientele. We're not trying to talk you out of purchasing a home. By all means, purchase a home when and if you're ready, but just make sure it's the right point in time for you. And I always go back and say, if you're waiting for the perfect time, there's never going to be one because there is no perfect time to buy a home. But you also have to make sure that it's going to be right for you, going to be right for your family, going to be right for your financial status, and you're not going to dig yourself into a hole to make it happen.
Don't dig yourself into a hole to make it happen. Prepare to be able to buy a home and take this time when maybe you can't or it's uncomfortable or tight to prepare. Get the $5,000 to 10 grand a month.
Reach out to us.
Yeah, reach out to a realtor of trust, whether it's us, whether whoever, the realtor you trust that has the experience, has the know-how of what's going on in today's market.
Connect you to the right people to help you out.
I just made a video the other day, don't match with a generic agent. And I actually gave the phrases to look out for to know if it's a generic agent. Devin said, and then Conflict said something good too. Devin said in their area, new construction sitting. In our market, we just had a new construction builder in yesterday.
And they only have one or two things back.
They've literally sold 60% of the neighborhood. It's not even built yet.
But they're really smart when it comes to it because they're incentivizing the first-time home buyers to make that purchase.
Which needs to happen more and more.
They're not trying to make the obnoxious premium off the people that have this ridiculous amount of money, which is a small market right now because not a lot of people are going to make that lateral move.
JP McCarthy, 2016, homes are selling in a weekend. This can't continue. Realtors today, hold my beer.
Oh my
That's
goodness.
true. And homes would sell. I mean, in 2018, 2019, you price it properly, it's going to sell. You market it well, it's going to sell. Now it's just, a little bit less of that. I don't think it sustains. Someone had said in there, aren't there bases in Delaware that makes for a more transient market? Yes, to an extent. But to be honest with you, BAH was this basic housing allowance, and that's what's utilized by the military to be able to pay for housing. They are seeing a world where their BAH is not covering the cost of living. They raised it up, but a lot of people are PCSing. And yes, we are helping a lot of people in Dover. Actually, it's middle Delaware, which is where we're at right now. We help a lot of people sell their home that are in the military that need the PCSing.
I actually have a person that I'm getting ready to sell their home within the next 12 months.
The big thing that I'm hearing from those people, though, is the market they're moving into, they plan to rent.
Yes.
They plan to go to base housing. They plan to live with family. They plan to do a few different things. And that's mainly because they can't take what they have and make a lateral movement financially into another home.
Yes.
Except for a few people that are going to Texas, because there's a couple places in Texas that are very slow.
Man, I want to buy a Texas house only because I see like these mansions for like $20.
I don't know if they're 20, maybe $30, but
I exaggerated.
And with that, we're going to go ahead and cut it off for the week. If you want to watch this on the DSLR, mics, all that fun stuff, jump in on our Facebook, Loft Realty. Otherwise, you have us here on TikTok. We come every single month on Tuesday with the numbers with Patrick and myself. That is your weekly housing market update.
And